There is a Mercury FourStroke with 6,000 hours on the original powerhead. This is the monthly routine that lets your engine easily run 5,000 hours or even 6,000. The first thing you do once a month is open the cowling and look. Not run, not start. Look. Pull the cowling off your Mercury and spend 60 seconds inspecting what is inside. Check for oil on any surface that should be dry. Check for moisture on the wiring harness connectors. Check for corrosion on the starter motor terminals and the alternator connections. Check that the oil level is in the correct range on the dipstick. Check that the drive belt on Verado models shows no fraying or cracking. This takes 1 minute. The information it gives you is irreplaceable. A slow oil drip at the base of the powerhead caught monthly is a $15 gasket replacement. Missed for a year, it becomes a seized bearing and a powerhead replacement that starts at $8,000. Commercial Mercury operators, the fishing guides and charter captains running the same engine, sunrise to sunset, 6 days a week, check under the cowling before every single run. Recreational owners run seasons without ever opening it. That difference in behavior is almost the entire explanation for why one engine hits 5,000 hours and another one needs replacement at 1,200. The second monthly habit is checking and topping off the engine oil. Mercury four-stroke engines hold between 4.5 and 7 quarts, depending on displacement, and use Mercury's specified 25 weight 40 marine oil. Engine oil level should be checked monthly even if the engine has not been used, because oil breaks down over time regardless of operating hours. An engine sitting on a trailer for 3 weeks in summer heat undergoes thermal cycling that degrades oil faster than most owners expect. Pull the dipstick, wipe it clean, reinsert fully, and pull again. The level should sit between the two marks. Running a Mercury four-stroke low on oil accelerates wear on every moving surface inside the powerhead simultaneously. The damage is invisible until compression drops, or the engine starts burning oil, at which point the cost to repair is measured in thousands, not hundreds. The third monthly habit is inspecting the propeller and shaft. Pull the propeller off completely once a month. This is the step that most Mercury owners skip because the propeller looks fine from the outside, and they are not wrong that it usually is. But the shaft underneath is what matters. Monofilament fishing line wraps around the prop shaft quietly, invisibly, and with every rotation it works deeper against the prop shaft seal. When that seal fails, water enters the lower unit and mixes with the gear oil. Milky gear oil means the gears are running in contaminated lubricant that accelerates wear exponentially. A failed prop shaft seal costs between $150 and $300 to repair. The lower unit rebuild it causes if you miss it costs between $1,500 and $3,000. Clean the shaft, inspect the seal for any sign of oil seepage, apply a coat of Mercury Quicksilver Special Lubricant 101 to the shaft, and reinstall the propeller with the correct cotter pin. 10 minutes. The fourth monthly habit is inspecting the sacrificial anodes. Your Mercury has anodes on the lower unit, the trim tab, and in some configurations inside the cooling passages. These zinc or aluminum blocks corrode deliberately, so your engine's aluminum components do not. Mercury's service documentation specifies replacing any anode that has lost more than 50% of its original mass. Once a month, look at every anode on your engine. If any have lost more than half their material, replace them before the next outing. Do not wait for the next service interval. An anode running below 50% provides dramatically reduced protection. At that point, galvanic current starts attacking the lower unit housing, the trim tab hardware, and the internal cooling passage walls instead. A full set of replacement anodes for a Mercury four-stroke costs between $15 and $50. Galvanic corrosion damage to a lower unit housing costs $800 or more, just for the casting, not including labor. The most common mistake Mercury owners make with anodes is using the wrong material for their water type. Mercury's service documentation is specific. Use zinc anodes for salt water. Use magnesium anodes for freshwater. Use aluminum for brackish or mixed environments where the boat runs in both. Using zinc in freshwater or magnesium in saltwater does not just reduce protection. It can actively accelerate corrosion in certain conditions. Match the anode to the water type and replace at 50%. The fifth monthly habit is a full visual inspection of the fuel system. Look at every fuel line you can access for cracking, brittleness, or any sign of the rubber beginning to separate from the fittings. Ethanol fuel degrades rubber fuel line components faster than pure gasoline did. A cracking fuel line on a Mercury is a fire risk first and a performance problem second. If you see any fuel line that looks questionable, replace it before you run the engine. A fuel line kit for most Mercury four-stroke models costs under $30. A fire on the water starts with a fuel leak and an ignition source that is running directly above it. Also, check the fuel-water separator bowl. If you can see water pooled at the bottom, drain it immediately and identify where the moisture is coming from. A separator bowl with standing water means your fuel system is already past the first line of defense. The sixth monthly habit is flushing the cooling system, even if the boat has not been used since the last flush. This one catches Mercury owners off guard because the logic seems backwards. If the engine has not run in the salt, why flush it? Because salt water does not need the engine to be running to continue its work. If your last outing was in salt water and the flush after that outing was incomplete, salt crystals already inside the cooling passages are continuing to crystallize and narrow those passages every day the boat sits. A monthly flush run through muffs with the engine at idle for 5 minutes removes residual salt that the previous flush may not have fully cleared. Mercury's own service interval documentation is explicit that flushing should happen after every saltwater use. Doing it monthly as well ensures that anything missed on a busy day at the dock does not accumulate unchecked. The seventh monthly habit is recording everything in a log. Write down the date, the current hour meter reading, what you inspected, what you found, and what you did. This sounds like administrative overhead, and most boat owners skip it entirely. It is not overhead. It is the single most valuable document you own for this engine. A documented maintenance log transforms a used Mercury from a gamble into a known quantity. Every commercial operator running a Mercury past 4,000 hours keeps one. Not because they were told to, but because after the first time a log entry saved them from a catastrophic failure they missed, they never stopped. Your log is also the document that proves your engine was maintained when you go to sell the boat. A Mercury four-stroke with complete maintenance records commands meaningfully more money than an identical engine with no documentation. Dealers and experienced buyers know exactly what to ask for and what missing records mean. An engine without a log is assumed to be an engine that was not maintained. Whether that is true or not, the assumption costs you money at the point of sale. 30 seconds of record keeping per month protects thousands in resale value. The eighth and final monthly habit is running the engine under load, even briefly, if it has not been run that month. An engine that sits without running for more than 30 days accumulates damage from the inside that no service interval can address. Fuel in the carburetor or vapor separator tank varnishes and gums over injector screens and carburetor passages. The water pump impeller vanes take a set in their resting position and become more likely to crack on the next startup. Rubber seals throughout the lower unit begin to dry out without the lubrication that comes from normal operation. 30 minutes of running under load at least once a month keeps every seal and rubber component in the engine wet and flexible, circulates fresh oil through the bearings, and ensures that when you need the engine on the day that matters, it starts the way it should. This is the habit that separates engines maintained by people who boat regularly from engines maintained by people who boat seasonally. A Mercury that runs once a week for 8 months and sits 4 months is in a completely different condition than one that runs briefly once a month all year long. The sitting months are when the hidden damage accumulates. 30 minutes a month prevents all of it. Well-maintained Mercury outboards that reach 5,000 hours do not do it by accident. They do it because someone opened the cowling once a month, checked the shaft, looked at the anodes, inspected the fuel lines, and wrote it down. Parts VU, one of the largest Mercury parts distributors in North America, documents that a well-maintained Mercury typically lasts 3,000 to 4,000 hours, with some exceeding 6,000. The gap between those numbers is not the engine, it is the owner. The engine Mercury builds is capable of the hours. The only question is whether the owner gives it what it needs to get there.